and welcome to the Sweet Talks podcast. My name is Chantal.
And I'm Nikima.
And I'm Rihanna. So, today we are going to be speaking about divorce and the experiences that we may have within divorce. None of us have actually been divorced, thank God, and hopefully none of us ever get divorced.
Amen.
But we're going to be talking about the experiences that we know that we've seen, ones that maybe we have dealt with either in relationship therapy, if anyone's done any, within relationship therapy. Also, maybe the effects that maybe we've seen other people kind of go through in terms of the experiences that they've had with divorce. So, I don't know if anybody would like to kick off, or if you want me to kick off, is up to or not?
Go ahead.
Okay. Alright, so recently, there's been a number of high-profile divorces, which I think we are mostly aware of. So Dr. Dre and his wife of 24 years have decided to divorce, and I think most recently to that, we've had Ray J revealing that he wanted to get divorced from his wife,
yes,
as well. So I think maybe if we look at those guys as are isolated and maybe bring it down to the everyday person. So obviously high-profile divorces kind of throw a lot of things into question. So I suppose I'd say especially with the divorce with Dr. Dre and his wife, there was a question that came to my mind. I don't know if it came to anybody else's mind, but in terms of the value that someone brings to a relationship. So she started to say she wanted a few $100,000 for several different things.
Yeah.
So I think it was $900,000 for entertainment
alone
by itself, and then 20 grand for laundry. And I was like, my girl, give me 10. And I will run that. I will run that for you. Don't worry. But yeah, so she wanted 20,000 per month, by the way, for these things. So not even.
Can you imagine?
900k a month for entertainment and 20k for laundry
Please
per
God
month.
bless me with that
I
money.
will take that 10k per month, my girl.
Please
So if you're
bless me.
listening, please, big,
Bless me, please.
send it over. Just run that.
I think the mad thing is that you can flip that, like, if you know how to do business or financially, financially savvy. Like,
Yeah. I'm thinking that's 120k.
But for the rest of us that don't, just
So watch
put that in my account.
Thank you very much. It's
Please don't do
this
that.
bank, that's all.
You know what I mean?
That
Well, I can't.
This is it. In fact, you can pay me the year up front. I'll give you a 10% discount, yeah? On top of it. No, but I think it did highlight, even though we're joking, like, I think it did highlight a lot about,
No, I'm not joking.
well,
Some of us are joking. Some of us.
66.6% of us are not joking. 3.3% is
Put that
joking.
together.
But yeah, so in terms of like the value that we place on each other in terms of a relationship, so I guess that most people don't really think about that till it gets to a point of divorce, which I think is quite weird actually, because you're not, the whole way through your relationship, you're not considering the value that you bring to a relationship until it gets to a point by where you're like, I gotta go.
And I think especially if you have money.
Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah.
If you're just regular, like the rest of us are, yeah.
Regular,
I
degular,
don't
you
really
know.
think like,
I
you
love
think
that.
about it like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I don't understand why, because I actually do think like that. But I know for like the general population, they don't.
But you think like that because you're coming from a background where that is required. You know what I mean? Like you're coming from a background where it's required for you to think deeply and reflect and be cognizant.
Yes.
Good there.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord.
That
Well,
was
it's
the
a
word.
difficult
That
word to
was
say,
the
you know.
word.
Tea that I don't have. Go on and look at
That's right.
Mm.
Of those things, so you are at a stage in your life or stages in your life where you know, and if you don't know, you are you know / understand, and if you don't know / understand, you are learning the value that you bring to different aspects of your life, whether it's church, whether it's leadership, whether it's your private practice, whether it's, you know, you're working for that place, whether it's, you know, all these, whatever. You are learning / being aware of your value. But like I said, the everyday EastEnders watcher, you don't really think about it.
Wow, did you just say that?
Yeah, because I don't mean like in a disrespectful way, but I just mean like, you know, the average Joe that works a 9 to 5, sits at home, been married for 16 years, you're not really thinking about what do I bring to this relationship. Like you said,
Okay.
rightly said, until you're ready to sign those papers and be like, well, I did this and I did this and I did that and you did this and you did that.
Itemize it.
Yeah, you know, you're categorising, so yeah.
Okay.
But I think when there's money involved, even more so, you know, and excuse me, whether you then have a prenuptial agreement, which is not as popular over here, and if it is popular, it's not popular with the regular folk. It'd be popular with those people that have money. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm not going to say regular. I just love that.
What's Cardi B?
Oh. I don't love it no more. I
Oh
don't.
God, she's getting divorced as well.
She's
I just
getting
remembered about
divorced,
that. She's getting divorced
yeah.
too.
So the person to add to the list.
Nah, man.
What really can't save you.
No. And I think that's
as great as it is, it really can't save you from anything.
But I think that the unfortunate thing is that a lot of people put
Of course,
emphasis on that.
like, yeah, because that's a society that we live in. It's very sexualized, it's very over sexualized. So you know, you want making sure that you have a wet ass, whatever.
See, I'd rather have wet ass paper, as in like my money's up. Like I
Hilarious.
can't even.
Hilarious.
All the fact,
Women in power.
you know what I'm saying? Like I'd rather just have like, you know what,
money
a
stacked
wad
up.
of paper.
Women in
For
power.
real.
A wad of paper rather than nothing
A wad-
else.
What a paper.
My wad is a wad of paper, yeah.
For real, for real.
It is a very sexualized world that we live in. However, bloody hell. Them ladies, man. Oh, I don't know.
No, we're not focusing on that.
No,
We're
not
focusing
yet.
on-
Sorry, I'm
so
sorry,
it's
I
money
just
and
have to say
divorce. So
that.
what would you? So in terms of like breakups or even in just regular breakups as well, then I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you see yourself or have you seen others maybe putting values on or emphasizing their value once they've left the relationship?
Goodness me. I mean,
That's a really good
it is a very good question. I think a lot of people put status on people, whether they're in marriages or
No.
relationships. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're not together. Like, it's like a detrimental thing. Like, if you end the relationship or divorce in a marriage from a marriage, then it's kind of seen as a sad kind of thing, isn't it? And actually, that person might have been in an abusive relationship, so you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So it's
for a long
not,
time.
and we don't
It's
even pay
freedom.
attention to the needs of the person individually
100%.
or together. So my experience growing up didn't really witness a couple of marriages, but nothing that I was around. And let me think of relationships as well. Growing up,
Like even long-term relationships.
that's what I mean. Long-term relationships. It was
So your auntie and uncle.
yeah,
Like,
it
been
was
together
the
like
antique.
22 years.
One of them ones. Yeah. And with my age, my tender age, it was more people passing away
Yeah.
than divorces.
Yeah.
I found
I get
that when I was a little bit younger, and probably a bit more so now. But when it's obviously youngers, and when I say young, I mean 50, 40, 30-year-olds. Yeah, you're more likely to hear that divorce is happening. I had a friend of mine that was in a relationship, and they weren't happy, and they decided to get a divorce. Even though that they knew it was the best thing for them, it was still very raw a year and a half afterwards.
I hear that.
You know, even to hear that person's name, it was just raw. And I feel like it's not separation anxiety, but there's some sorts of anxiety that might come with not being in that routine, not being in that relationship anymore. It's actually done. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
That might also be towards, because as human beings we're creatures of habit, so that might actually be part of it as well. So
Part of
because
the change.
yeah,
And companionship. No one wants to be by themselves.
100%,
Not 24/7.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the things that the reason why I was saying about value is because actually during relationship therapies or relationship counselling, something that I do notice, and usually when a couple kind of walks through the door, I'm going to say the majority, can't say all of them, I'm trying to reflect in my head as I'm talking, but the majority of them, I would say that they don't show their values to each other, nor do they appreciate what the other person brings by the time that they come to the room.
No, because I think by that time, I think, first of all, let's just be 1000%. If you're coming to relationship therapy, normally
There's an issue,
yeah, and normally you're reluctant because nobody really wants to come.
One of them got dragged.
Exactly, and it's normally the guy that's got dragged into it. Now, side note, we are all advocates of relationship therapy, and please go if you need
100%.
some support. And even if you don't need support and you just want to have a conversation,
Plug into.
No, seriously, plug into the Sweet Talks podcast.
Yes,
also
we
plug into the
do.
Sweet Talks Instagram, and we will redirect you accordingly.
100%. No,
Either
seriously.
to Tailored Therapy or to Innovate Therapies
Hey.
or Ask Identity Therapies. But hit us up and we'll let you know.
all of those things.
Yes.
So yeah, for real, just proper go and get some support. And then coming back to the point, I think not only to jump on the bandwagon of what you just said, the individuals themselves maybe don't know their own value.
That too.
So
that does happen.
how do you ask? Oh, I feel a word in my spirit. How do you ask?
Going to church now.
I love it.
How do you ask or require someone to value you and respect you accordingly if you don't know your own, and then you don't then act accordingly? Because you know that saying of people can only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So if we're using that for example, then what does it say about us as an individual?
Come on, Rihanna.
If
Sorry.
Sorry.
Rihanna.
What does it say about us as an individual if we're not being respected in the way we require? Because have we made it a requirement at the beginning? I don't know. And I'm saying,
Good question.
Yeah, I'm saying that with myself included. How have we made that a thing? So yeah, Chantal's right. So by the time you do come to therapy, and don't get wrong, thank you, bless your heart for coming, because it takes a real person to say, you know what, I need some support. Yes,
100%.
yes, that's right. So, you know, by the time that you do come, of course, maybe you don't understand what Sally's brought to him, and Sally don't understand what Adam brought to him, because you never had that conversation at the beginning of stages when you were dating or talking or whatever you want to call it, or you've never made it a requirement as this is what I expect, this is what I would like, you know, this is what something that's non-negotiable for me, this is the things I'm willing to compromise. What about you? And then you tell me yours. And then how do we come to a consensus? How do we come to a middle point? How do we compromise within the things that are non-negotiables for us? And then also listen to the red flags.
Hell yes.
The big ass red ships that are floating.
Whether the words, behaviours.
And or everything. Big ass ships. And we just Titanic and just dying.
I think we need to have like a podcast about
Death. Just death in general, or what?
Oh, I meant like death, like relationships.
Oh.
Dying. Sorry.
The ending of relationships. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Is
so.
that what you
But
were
I was
saying?
going to say the start, but I like that one.
Too, yeah.
We can
I
do
think
both.
What about the start, middle, and the end?
I
Although
love
we
it.
are talking about
Love
divorce.
it.
We are talking about divorce, so we are talking about the end.
That's
But
true.
remember, these are long-term relationships, kind of styly, you know,
Yeah.
the way we're topic on now.
Oh, are you talking about like all types of relationships?
All types of ending,
Okay.
all types of starting, all types of middles, but it's important.
Yeah, we can.
But yeah,
We
the only reason I bring that up is because there's certain questions that we don't ask our
Counterparts.
that we're gonna date.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you ask him that? I didn't think to ask him. And I get it, because if you're not in that thought process, then sorry. Anyway,
too much
I'm getting off track a little. Let me bring it back. Come on now.
I don't think you're off track. I think you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, and we don't get to ask these certain questions, so we don't actually understand the person in the way that we think we should or do.
Yeah.
Or should, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's true, because I can't lie. The relationships that I've been in afterwards, I've been like, I really didn't even see that coming. I literally didn't see that coming. And sometimes I don't know if it's like, if I didn't ask the right questions or I didn't see that. No, actually, no. In hindsight, I never looked. No, I saw it and I ignored that.
Yeah.
But like at the time,
Yeah.
I felt like I missed and blind.
Yeah.
I was like
obviously.
Stevie Wonder, man, just
Oh my
out there,
I've been-
just. That was me. That was just me straight. I can't lie.
I can relate. I was the same. I've experienced it as the same.
I think that's partly what humans do, because we want the easiest way out, and to ignore, self-included, to ignore the red chips,
However small.
however big and however small, is sometimes easier because you're overcompensating for something else.
Yeah.
So it might be, okay, he spends quality time with you, which might be your love language, but you know he might curse you out every 5 seconds. But you'll deal with that, because at least when you can sit home and watch TV together and have that, you know, that quality time that you so long have wanted.
Cost benefit analysis, man.
For
It
real,
builds up.
cost
I
benefit.
can't.
But you know,
For
the
real.
thing is, though, I think
hear
as
ya.
well, sometimes some people, because even if we bring it back a little bit to, I can't remember, Dr. Dre's wife, she was saying that she was in this marriage for 24 years, but he was physically and verbally abusive to her for the majority of that time. And I'm not taking that
Right.
away from her if that was
Right.
the truth. I can't take away from her if that was the truth. But my thing is, you can say that's why you're divorcing, because I guess everyone has their breaking point.
But you can't justify that with money and the money that
That's
you're
the
asking
thing.
for.
Because I'm like, I'm out. That's it. I don't care what you got. If even as much as you might feel you're entitled to certain things, there's people that have done less to me, and I can say I've pushed them to probably levels that they weren't ready for. But I still don't feel like I could run you down for that money. You might owe me. You might know you owe me. I might know you owe me. But I'll allow you, because I can still go over to the next and keep doing what I'm doing.
Sweet.
You see, this is the thing.
But at the same time, and I agree with you 10,000%, but at the same time, let me tell you something, right? You boxing me upside my head all day, every day, in front of my pitney, in front of whoever, you're cussing me out, you're verbally, emotionally, psychologically. You know, I say that word every day for a living, and the family struggling. My God. Anyway, financially, sexually, you're coercive, you're all the things,
Dismissive.
you're neglectful, everything, dismissive, all that. And you think that I'm going to be in this relationship for 24 years and walk out empty? No, let me tell you something, right?
I love Heather. Go ahead.
So, half of me is like, you know what? I just want to be free.
Yeah.
So you have it all. I'm not even bothered.
Yeah.
I want to take my dignity. I want to take my self-respect. I will start over again. Let me tell you, when God created me a woman,
Yeah.
don't worry. Yeah, I will start again. Not a problem. The other half of Rihanna is saying, no, let me tell you something, right? After all the, and now, I don't know their living, none of us know their living situation. So
Yeah.
just go along with me. Regular person, I'm cooking, cleaning, looking after you. Yeah. I'm there, emotionally, whatever you need. Even after you cussing me and doing all these foolishness, I'm not the word I'm going to use, but
Yes, I
put
know.
that there.
I realised it was the other one.
Let me just take a breath. I feel a bit out of breath. I don't know why.
It's exhausting though,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it
Just
is
the thought of it. Just the
And so you know, you're as you're quote unquote, you're doing the wifely role. Let's say, yeah. So everything that you're doing, everything that you need, I'm there. You don't even cough, yeah. You don't sneeze before I put the tissue on the unit. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Everything, and not only that,
what
and
a
then,
wife.
right, and not only that, and then we're being intimate, and everything else that goes with that, and I'm having your children, and for hopefully she had a safe delivery, but that's not everyone's situation.
True.
And whatever trauma that they've gone through, and not only that, remember who he is. He's
Yeah.
Dr. Dre, so he's been through a lot. Do you know what I mean? He's done a lot of not so great things, and imagine all the pressure and whatever she had to probably carry by herself. Especially if he, I don't know his story like that, but especially if, let's say, he was in and out of prison. You know, I don't know, whatever.
Emotional.
But whatever's going on, you know what I mean? She's carrying a good chunk of it. So after 24 years, you're not giving her nothing. No.
Was he not going to give?
It
Was he
wasn't-
not going to give her?
No.
it
I'm not
wasn't-
saying
it
that.
wasn't that he wasn't
I'm
gonna
just
give
Oh, I
talking.
hear you. I hear you.
I'm
just
just,
wanted
I'm
more.
just saying from
I
my
hear you.
perspective. Oh, I'm leaving with something.
Yeah.
I'm not now. It might not be what she's asking for, because
2 million a month.
I think that's for entertainment. That doesn't make sense. But anyway.
No, 2 million a month is what she wanted.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
See, with me, and if I was married to someone like that with that amount of power, we don't know what type of financial abuse she's
She's going through.
Do you know what I mean? So
Uh-huh.
she could have actually been suffering from financial abuse. You know what I mean? From my perspective and my business head, I'll be like, can I have 20 grand? Can I have 30 grand throughout the marriage? Can I have 15 grand?
Yeah, I personally.
And then do something for my,
for yourself.
you know what I mean?
I'm
To
not-
help.
Sorry, not only to say that, can I just say, as a woman, and I think one of the amazing things about being a woman is that we are that mama bird, and what I mean by that is,
Generally speaking.
yeah, and what I mean by that is, when a mama bird has a baby bird, they originally they live in the same little nest in the tree, don't they? And eventually the mama bird moves the baby out into her own tree, and they just fly between each other. The mama bird, now, this ain't scientifically correct, but this is just what
I was
Yeah.
about to say, because some birds dash their kids out, you know,
Yeah,
make them
they do.
fly.
I
So
met them
drop.
fly. Yeah, that's different. But that's certain type of birds that like
I
they
hear
have
ya.
to fly by a certain time.
Yeah.
But just go with me, right?
Yeah,
You
go
should
with
know
you.
Rihanna is just off the cuff like this anyway.
Love it.
Um,
Don't ever change.
and so whatever the mum eats and it regurgitates into the child life.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is, before the mum decides that she's going to leave and buy a new nest without a husband, she goes back and forth with little twigs and builds up her nest slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love about women is the fact that, and I think this, and I say that because many women in my life that I've known many women in my life who I have known who have to start again, or are in their current situations and just choosing to do this anyway because this is what you should do as a woman. I believe you should always have your own little money on the side, even if you don't work. And no, but Chantal, not every woman knows that. A lot of people don't know.
You're right.
So Chantal says,
You're
oh,
right.
because that's just how we've been raised. But a lot of women don't know
They
that. A lot of
don't.
girls don't know that. So even if you don't, as a woman, even if you are not working and your partner is a breadwinner, whatever money that you two, and hopefully you've agreed it together and he's not giving you anything, because this is not a give nothing because you're not a child. But anyway, the money that you've agreed to spend on your home or whatever, you take the £10 from that.
Mm-hmm.
Or £20 from that, and you put it into a little savings, just in case fund.
But isn't that him still giving it to you if you're taking it from the money he's giving?
No, because we don't give. We grown people, we have a conversation.
Oh, okay.
We're not giving you. I'm not your 5-year-old child.
Okay.
You ain't giving me no pocket money. This is the budget.
I'm
For the
sorry,
month.
but even the Queen gets given over.
We don't care about her. No, nobody's not talking about her.
Okay.
So, what I mean is, I guess technically it would still be given, but that's not how we want to talk about it because we're not children, we're grown
Okay.
people. So the budget for whatever the household is,
Yeah.
However you guys work that out, communicate that, whatever money that you then take for the household and shopping and whatever, I would say you take just a small amount of that and put that aside, and that's your just in case fund, and you always have that. Now he don't need to know about that necessarily. It's not like you're lying.
Yeah.
Or if you want to tell him, it's your business, whatever you want to do. Regardless, there should be a fund where, and I'm hoping that Dr. Dre's wife also did the same thing, that she had some money aside just in case anything like this or anything else at all, period, happened that she could fall back on. And I feel like everyone
Wow.
should do that.
It's called Get Vex money.
Yeah, get
Vex
vex money, but
money.
that's usually if you go on a date and someone wants to clown you. But I think she did. I'm not 100% sure because I think he's trying to sue her now for embezzlement, which is what that technically would be.
It's getting.
So,
Really?
yeah. Which is why I was looking at you like.
Why?
If it's her, it's embezzlement. If you take money, if you keep siphoning money off from stuff that's supposed to be at the
Okay.
household, that's embezzlement.
Well,
But I would say that
If it's written off for your business.
that's what I'm saying. If it was
your
part of her
business project.
business, because I could, well, let me not go into that. But like she but she is a lawyer, and I'm pretty sure there's pillow talk
well,
where
there you go.
no, but there was pillow talk where she possibly gave legal advice. That's the thing. I would argue it that way, but you
£2
know.
million fee.
No, not the £2 million. The part that he's saying that she embezzled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think she, but I don't think I mean, I don't know the law, but I really don't feel like that should be embezzlement. I really don't.
You feel like it shouldn't.
Yeah, no, but that's why I said I don't know the law, and I'm fine with that. Like, it is what it is. But
I get what you
No,
I get
I
where
know
you're
what you're
coming from. I'm with you.
It
Rihanna,
should
on
be.
that.
It should be community money. Don't get it
I'm
twisted.
your wife. What do you mean?
I'm hearing what you're saying. At the time when the money was given, it should have been community money. But yeah,
I don't know why he's going back and forth. It's very petty. I don't know whether
Oh,
it's...
listen,
got
900k for entertainment is petty. I can't listen. As much as I feel like Dr. Dre probably is not 100% in the right.
You can understand where he comes from.
Yeah. When
It's
you're
money
saying
at the end of the day.
yeah,
And I think it's one of the ones where, like, you know, rich people, they don't necessarily go to court because they want to be right. They'll just keep going until someone's money runs out. There you
The
go.
courts
It'll
are
be hers
just...
first.
The courts
And
are
that's
just...
the thing.
The courts are just like...
yeah.
But the
And they're
good
making
thing
the most money.
thing is that she's got at least, thank God, at least she has a career to fall back on.
Yeah.
You can start again and you make good money.
Yeah, she could do. She really could do, and probably could make money out of having been his wife and
Yeah,
going through the situation and blah 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 blah.
They could probably give her a TV show next.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
No.
Next reality show.
Hey.
But yeah. But in terms of like the other impacts that happen, I know we talked about the financial impacts and the big people issues, I guess, because the people that are actually going through it. But what about the families? So the wider impact on the kids, the wider impact on friends, the wider impact on maybe two families that have become joined.
Communities even?
Yeah.
Friends and families?
Like I can say from the people that I've dated, like their families still find it hard to leave me alone. I haven't even married their children. So I don't know what would happen if there was a marriage and then
It's hard.
divorce. Like,
It's hard. It really is difficult. We're all involved.
yeah. So what do you feel like the emotional impacts might be?
I'm gonna give an example. So
Okay.
I ended a relationship with someone I was dating, obviously. Dating for quite a few years, and so my nephew got to know him. He was 3.5, 4, until he was about 5, and then he would see me on my own, and he'd ask for him. Keep asking me for mum even when I'm not there. How is he? And whatever. Has a daughter, all that stuff, and it's like, oh my, I miss his heart. You can tell he misses him.
Yeah.
And how do you tell a 4-year-old?
How'd you go through that?
Yeah.
It's so sweet. Side note, he's so adorable, this nephew of mine. Oh my God. So he calls his mommy and daddy. And he'd say to me, is that your daddy? Meaning, no,
Oh.
meaning my ex. Is that
Oh,
you're the
okay.
mummy, you're the daddy? That's how it works. That's how he sees the world.
That's cute.
Is that your daddy? Even though it's not. It's
Yeah. That's
anyway.
cute, that
He's
is.
adorable. Anyway, let's go back.
That's
Obviously,
No, that is cute.
he's
That is
adorable.
funny.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard,
So
and I think sometimes it's hard to put into words because it's such an emotional battle. Like,
ricochet,
Yeah.
not ripple.
yeah, like similar to what Nikima says. When I think about my nieces that I'm no longer around, like I feel like even the other day I was looking at their pictures and I just like to cry. I was just like, oh, God. Like, and I know they ask about me, but
Of course.
you know what I mean. And if it was up to me, like this is the thing, in my mind I'd be like, okay, things are not how it was before, but I would still go around and pick you up and take you out, like, as in the girls.
Yeah.
I highly doubt their family would be okay with that. But I feel like if it was the other way around, I would be okay with that because at one point we were a family and we had a connection. Not only that, they had an attachment to me, I had an attachment to them.
Yeah.
For that to be over, it's horrible. It is horrible. But I can only I'm not a child of divorce or anything like that. No, I grew up with I didn't grow up with a lot of marriages in my personal life, but in my church life, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody was pretty much married, and if you weren't married, you were single. If you weren't single, you was divorced. But you were, well, which is still single. But so in some way, shape, I thought, oh, you're widowed, something like that. So as a young person, I don't really think I thought about like marriage or divorce or like whatever. I didn't really think about it. As I've got older, I've realised that a lot of the marriages that I am now around are very unhealthy.
Yeah, that part.
And so
that part.
some of them I believe should get a divorce now. I know it's gonna sound like, oh yeah, Christian, and yeah, I am. However,
hang on, what do you mean you're a Christian? And
because that's what people might say.
Yeah, some people say that you shouldn't really believe in divorce or get a divorce if you're.
But if you're in an abusive relationship,
that is
even if you're in a sorry,
you're right.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
And then that would be the stipulations on which divorce should be allowed,
and which it is.
But however, some people
will still have that dying death belief that you don't.
Even though there's abuse.
But here,
right.
Let's be real. And this is what I said when I was younger, right? Let's think about, from my perspective, the marriages that were around in church. These older people been married all 40 years, and it was miserable the whole time.
And then you wonder why they come to church.
And the only way one of them is free is because one of them died. Do you know what I mean? They're not. Yeah. that divorce isn't a thing, because remember, once upon a time, you not getting divorced, you're shamed. Like, and not just in church, like just in life.
That was a thing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So. That's what I'm saying now. As I've realised, as I've got older, a lot of the marriages that when I was looking at them when I was younger, a lot of them are unhealthy. Yeah. And even now, a lot of them, even the newer. When I say new, I mean like the last maybe 15 years. Even a lot of them are unhealthy. So,
I hear you. There's a stigma.
So you know, I believe that. I believe that, like, I would love to get married. I don't have an intention on getting divorced, which I don't think a lot of people do. However, let me tell you this right now.
Alright.
Divorce is an option. It's not an option that I want to take.
But it is an option.
And so I do say it's not an option.
I get you.
But it's an option because, let me tell you something. If there's any kind of abuse, it's an option. If there's any sort of molestation, it's an option. If there's any sort of anything like that, it's an option. What do you mean?
No, if there was molestation, that might be a death to us part kind of how that comes out. Okay. Like that might manifest.
That too. All that, but all that isn't.
No, not might. It will manifest.
Yeah.
So,
all of that is now an option.
Yeah.
So to say it's not an option is kind of, I kind of believe it's not an option because I'm not going to get married to then be throwing that word around. However, if it's getting to the point that these things happen, or if we have grown to a point that we've grown past each other to a point that there's no kind of pushing it back together.
Yeah.
And not only that, guys, we have done everything that we can do. We have seen every doctor. We have seen every, when I say doctor, I mean what?
Therapist. Yeah.
Psychological background. We've gone to pastors, numerous pastors. We've done everything that we can do to try and make this thing work, and we're just at different points in our lives. Then what am I supposed to do? I do not believe the God that I serve wants me to stay in a marriage where everything is less, as in love less, happy less. Do you know all those things less, right? Especially when I've tried everything to appease other people. So I'm not that sadistic. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it because, like I said, that's what I've seen. Like I strongly believe, like some of the women, if they had the confidence or whatever you want to call it to have gotten divorced years ago, they would have done that.
I get that.
But they didn't, and that's why you find now a lot of women in this kind of lifetime, we wait so long before we get in those type of relationships.
Yeah.
As in, like, you'd be waiting till like 40s or whatever before you do that because you don't feel yourself.
Again, this is true. And I think that a lot of people, in fact, I said this to one of my friends as well probably a couple of weeks ago, but I might have said it to you guys before, that there was a year when quite a lot of my friends got married. It's 2013. Quite a lot of my friends got married. I was a bridesmaid, I think, 10 times in that 1 year.
Wow.
And I was actually in, like, I think 20 married, I can't remember. There's a lot of weddings. And I knew from then who was going to get divorced and who was going to stay together.
Well.
And it was just from how they perceived the wedding. So this was like my red flag thing. If you put more emphasis on the wedding than the marriage, you were going to get divorced.
Message.
Yeah. And I saw it clear as day. And every time, and I was like, God, I really don't want to think this about these people, you know, it's bad.
It's like a download from God.
Yeah. But I think that was a message to me too.
Yeah.
To make sure that if I'm putting more emphasis on my wedding, no, not even that. I think it was more so like if the thing that I'm most excited about is the wedding, not the marriage, then there's a problem.
Wake up.
So, and I think
wake up because we're sleeping on that.
Exactly, and I think that like even when I get people within the therapy room, when we start talking about like all the issues about, you know, like when they were together, how the marriage has gone, blah 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 blah. Usually when we're doing like, because there's certain sections where you'll have like just the man or just the one partner or the other, and then like some of the things that will come out would be like, oh, normally I'm not gonna lie, it's just the men that say this. She changed once we got married.
Yeah.
Like she was this person before they got married, and now she's this person. It's like I married her because of what she was showing me over there, but then she became something else. And then he noticed that from the time when the wedding was coming, and he put it onto she's getting stressed out from the wedding, but actually no, these are just the true colours that are now coming out, or what she perceives that a wife should look like, or whatever it is.
That's why I like that West Indian saying, Simeon live with his
two different something. It's true.
You know, I know in terms of Christianity and religious perspective, it's not always feasible to do that, but you have to live with them boss if you really know them. You know what
it's
I mean?
true. And the thing is that people's masks drop anyway. Yeah. So even if you didn't get to, although I do agree with that saying still, kind of like, but still like even if you're around someone enough, there's a point where they slip.
Yeah.
Because if that's not the real them, and I'm, because like even the person
Actress Oscar, hey.
Halle Berry would I get run for? But like,
and that's why like I agree with that that phrase, but I don't at the same time because obviously I'm just not gonna live with you before I get married to you.
Yeah.
But I sorry, I was gonna say but I think this is why it's important to take your time and date. Yeah. And take your time and be in a relationship and not kind of rush to get married, because yes, in a lot of religions I don't really consider Christian anyway, a lot of faith-based whatever, that isn't, like you said, feasible. So I feel like for that, the alternative that you have is to take your time and study that person. Do you know what I mean?
Study yourself as well in that situation.
Yeah. I want to see you when you're mad, vice versa. I want to see you when you're sick and all those things. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, all of the points are
good. Not only the great stuff, but I want to see the bad stuff. I want to see how do you handle rejection? How do you handle this? And I want you to see that in me as well. And think about whether you can deal with that, because that's going to be a lifelong.
That's the thing. Can you deal with that person in their worst if they were to stay that way?
Yeah, exactly.
For the rest, and I was just like, I can't do it, so I'll keep it moving.
And then
It's me.
No, I feel like the only thing that I couldn't work through is, I think what Rihanna said earlier about molestation. I think like that's the only, or rape. Those are the only things that I'd be like,
but understandably.
Understandably,
but it's that, you know.
I feel like anything else could possibly be worked on, and worked through. But there's,
as long as two people are willing.
Of course, and that's the other part as well. Once one person's checked out,
that's it. It's hard, boy.
Just allow it. Just allow it. Like, you can't talk them into it. You can't, unless they make their mind up to say, you know what, let me just try and do a thing and let me just come back, or let me get my head back in the game. There is not a single point on earth for even trying. And there's been couples that have come before me and I've been like, nope.
You know those weddings, right?
Yeah.
So how many of that number actually got divorced?
So out of the 20 weddings that happened that year, there were, was it 20 or 22? 20.
Something like that,
yeah. There's still 8. 8 of them are still together.
Wow. It's hard. Marriage is not easy.
40%.
Relationships are not easy.
And that kind of corresponds with the national average as well. It's about 40% stay together. So
and I think another reason why people do end up getting divorced or choosing to break up, or whatever you want it, it's also because of outside of interfering. 100%.
100%. Outside interference is the worst. The worst.
And I think it can be very appropriate. I think depend on the context and depend on the setting. Like, for example, if okay, just from like into my world, if I am speaking to my spiritual mom, to me that's appropriate.
Yeah.
If we're going to get guidance from somebody that's been married 50 years, or someone pastor or whatever, that's appropriate to me.
Yeah.
That type of outside influence is appropriate. There's nothing wrong with it. Because my assumption would be is that person who we're speaking to is non-biased.
Got you. Yeah.
So, and hopefully you should have wisdom to know who you're going to and not just go to any Tom, Billy and Dilly out here. Do you know what I mean? So,
but some people that you even, sorry, I'll let you continue, but some people you might assume not to be a Willie and Dilly, but they still weren't appropriate. So even if you went to your auntie or your uncle or your parents or whatever. But
100%. Yeah, no. But then also, the onus is on you to do your research before you go into them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, you're not going to know that 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you find out after the fact. But if 3 different people have told you 3 different things about this one person, chances are, you might not
smoke without fire.
Right? So sometimes you've got to do your due diligence and actually research before you go into the doctor's office and not just go in there and get jocked, and feel a way about it later on. So, but like you said, you 1,000%, you're not going to know that all the time. You really not. And so it's trial and error. Do you know what I mean? It's just, you have to just humble yourself and just go.
Yeah.
But yeah, not everybody should be in your bedroom.
100%. That is true. Not everybody should. And not everybody has your best intentions either.
1,000%.
Or I will say as well, it depends what the rest of that person's life is like. And I think if they're not a therapist, pastor, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Although some of their lives may not be
Come on now.
clean. But,
It's true.
just put that out there. But, then I think trying to observe, whoever you're going to, try and observe what their life is like. So there are certain people that I would go to for some things, and there's some people that I wouldn't go to other things, just because I know where your energy's at and where you can be. Some people have shocked me in terms of maybe the mismatch between what I thought and what was.
Like a positive or negative, or both?
Both. Unfortunately, it's been mostly negative than positive, but it's not until you test that and you see it for yourself that you can then start to make different and more appropriate decisions.
Yeah.
So anything I can say.
I agree. So I think that would be a big part. So we've got financial issues, we've got family interference, we've got being unequally yoked, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word. So these are also like things
Major
that impact why people get divorced.
Yeah, most definitely. But I think in terms of like when we have children involved, I think that there definitely has to be you guys come last kind of approach. And I think a lot of people that go through divorce, that is not the main focus, unfortunately. Because having worked with children, I think we all worked with young people, and if they've had divorces that usually go on with their families, then it impacts them massively, and by the time you start to unpick it a little bit, you start to unravel a whole load of different stuff that have come from the fact that their parents have treated each other so much contempt because of past relationship crap, that their kids pick up on it and then messes them up. And then we've got to deal with their anxiety, depression, OCD, whole load of other different stuff. So I'd say that's a major consideration for any person. If you are considering divorce to go through and you've got children, consider how and where you're fighting. Is it necessary to fight in front of them, or is it that fight can be saved to another day?
And not only that, like I think in my job now, like we do a lot on impacts on children.
Yeah.
And I always say to my guys, like, there's nothing wrong with arguing, there's nothing wrong with disagreeing. Like, it can be done in a healthy way.
Yeah.
But it's definitely how you do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys, this irritates my spirit. When they're like, oh, I was arguing, but I wasn't doing it for other things. Like the kids
I have
even
no
know
idea what
upstairs.
you're saying, Rihanna.
Like, so sorry.
Yeah, come a bit
They
closer.
they would say something like, oh, we wasn't doing it in front of the kids weren't there, we were asleep, there was whatever, they were upstairs, whatever. And I'm like, let's not be stupid.
I like that, yeah. It's
And
true.
what I've been saying to them as of recently is, I said to them, have you ever been somewhere where a group of people are in a room, you're not in that room, but then you walk in that room and everybody stops and you feel that tension, and they're like, yeah, that happens to me. Okay, so that's how your children feel.
Yeah. 100.
So when you and mummy are cussing each other and then they walk into a room
and the
Mhm.
tension's
and you feel
thick.
like, and because you said to them, I'll go to your bed and play your game, and you feel like they don't know, let me tell you something, the children know. Yeah, because what happens when they go to school, the teachers then have to pick up what
on
you.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I mean? Why is it? I was gonna say something, but I won't say it.
Okay.
But for example, why is it? And you wonder why when your children go to school, they might be, quote unquote, overly sensitive, or they might be overly attached to certain people or whatever. That's normally because something is unsettled at home.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So the impacts on children are massive psychologically. And divorce is one of those things that it stays with you for the rest of your life. So even as your children become adults,
Yeah.
that will impact how they connect and how they attach and how they get into relationships or don't get into relationships with others, whether romantically or just relational.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It
That's
has a massive impact on all the above. So I think it's really naive when people say things like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know some of them just genuinely don't know and don't realise that the things that they're doing have an impact, but the ones, the ones that do know and just don't care, like, okay, so you use one screw each other for free. You want to be fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But again, it's what's at the forefront. I feel like they know, but they don't. It's not at the forefront.
Yeah,
you know what I
because
mean?
at that time, when you're arguing, you're trying to get your point across.
You're just trying to win.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, everybody loses.
Pitney
More
loses.
so your kids, but everybody loses. And then unfortunately, I think one of the statistics is that children of divorce become divorced normally. Like a higher percentage of them than divorced. So again, I think it's about trying to introduce healthy relationships as well.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's many other things that contribute to why people get divorced that we haven't listed, but
yeah, this is only 40 minutes, so we can't get into all of them. But if you'd like to contact us and speak to us maybe about the topic, we did reach out to a couple of people about speaking about this topic. One person was kind of going to, but they came a little bit late with the statement, but it's okay. But yeah, so if we can pick up on this topic again, or if they bring up other stuff, then maybe we can address it again. But if you guys want to tell us your experiences around divorce, and
yes, please,
even if you wanted to get, like we said, some therapy around it, then please do contact us on Instagram at Sweet Talks 777, and we will redirect you to the most appropriate places for your area. So anybody else got any last words? Or
no, stay safe.
Stay safe, yeah.
Okay, so I guess that is stay safe, stay happy, and we'll see you next time on Sweet Talks Podcast. Bye bye.